Hi, OJ. Life can take unexpected turns, and sometimes we face battles no one else can see. For me, it was a strange and frightening reality of living with a spiritual husband. It began subtly, but soon took control over my life, affecting my relationship, my mental health, and every sense of myself. This is my story, a struggle for my freedom, love, and identity, as I tried to escape the hold of something otherworldly. It all started one night when I woke up to find someone's hand slowly touching my chest. I was confused and alarmed. I grabbed the hand tightly, only to hear a familiar voice saying, "It's me. Just relax. Don't make any sound." "It's Mariam, your roommate." I was stunned. I thought to myself, could she be a lesbian? I never suspected this. My parents trusted her so much, and that's why they allowed me to stay with her, while I saved up some money to rent a place of my own. Her father was a pastor, and that alone had given my parents enough confidence for this arrangement. "What is this, Mariam?" I asked in shock, trying to make sense of the whole situation. "I want to have sex with you." "Mariam, are you out of your mind?" I asked. "What has gotten into you?" I shouted as my heart was racing. She replied that I just wanted a taste of you. OJ, to my horror, she took out her phone and began playing a pornographic video. I wanted to tell her to turn it off, but something about the video caught my attention. I had heard of sex, but I had never actually seen it. The girl in the video was moaning loudly, clearly enjoying herself. "Is this what sex feels like?" I asked her, confused and curious as I was. And she replied, "Yes, especially when it's with strong guys like the one in the video." Before I knew what was happening, she started touching me again, this time moving her hands lower. I tried to resist, but I felt weak. She undressed me and began using a strange device on me. I later found out it was a sex toy. I had never seen anything like it before, and when she started using it, the pain was sharp and unbearable. I moaned in agony until she was satisfied. Afterwards, I was shocked to see blood on my body and on the bed. She explained that it was because it was my first time and promised it wouldn't happen again. I cleaned myself up and we went back to bed. OJ, these were the very things my parents had warned me about before I left for school. But in that moment, I couldn't understand why I couldn't resist. Guilt and regret flooded me, and I promised myself it would never happen again. But my roommate kept pressuring me, and before long, I was addicted to sexual encounters. Even when she wasn't around, I started masturbating, inserting objects into myself just to feel the pleasure. One night, I had a terrifying dream. I saw an ugly man claiming to be my husband. He said, "Since sex is all I desired, I will always be there to satisfy you, both spiritually and physically. I will protect and provide for you, but you must never be with another man." It is at this point that I would ask that you subscribe to the channel, share this video, or a comment, because that is the only way you encourage me to bring you more stories and confessions. Please subscribe and not miss out on the end of the story. Let's go. I woke up in a cold sweat, only to find my underwear on the floor, though I had fallen asleep with it on. I was horrified, OJ. As I tried to process what was happening, I heard a voice. "I am your spiritual husband. You are mine, and I will take care of you and your needs. Just stay away from men." I collapsed in fear. It became clear that I was now married to a spiritual husband, and I had heard about the dangers of such a thing. If I had known, I would never have indulged in those sinful acts with my roommate. Life with my spiritual husband was far from easy, OJ. Every time I tried to resist him, he would beat me up in my dreams and remind me that I couldn't escape him. He even warned me never to tell anyone, not even my parents, or he will kill me. His threats kept me silent, and my life began to crumble. I had been a top student, but now my grades were failing. My once promising future seemed to be slipping away slowly. OJ, during my last semester, I went home, but even there, he followed me. Sometimes he appeared with money and gifts, as he had promised. It was strange. I felt cared for, but I was still haunted. How can I be married to someone that wasn't even human? One day, as I walked to the market, two men jumped out of the bushes and dragged me into the trees. You've been avoiding us, but today we will take what we need from you. I pleaded for mercy, OJ, but they ignored. Suddenly, something invisible began attacking them. They collapsed in front of me, and I realized it was my spiritual husband's protection. Any man who gets close to you will suffer, he warned before he vanished. I ran back home, very terrified. OJ, after staying in my parents' house for 3 weeks, I met Richard again. He had been a close friend, though it had been a long time since we last saw each other. He was a kind man, and I had started developing feelings for him, though we had lost contacts over the years. I could tell he felt the same way, but we never openly discussed it. That day, we shared a deep connection, exchanging heartfelt words. He hugged and we exchanged contacts. He was clearly thrilled to see me again, and I felt the same. My happiness was boundless. Later, when I got home and opened the door, I alone, my parents were all at work. But then suddenly, my spiritual husband appeared. He asked angrily, why did I hug the man? He warned me if I ever talk to him again, I will regret it. Then he vanished. Richard eventually confessed his love for me, telling me he wanted to marry me. Without hesitation, I said yes, as I had already loved him for a very long time. When I told my parents, they immediately approved. I was overjoyed, but deep down, I was still terrified of my spiritual husband. He had always tormented me, and I knew his presence was real. That same day, he appeared, furious, asking me to decline the marriage, else I will face the consequences. That I am his wife, and I already have 3 children for him in the spiritual world. Wow. Then he disappeared. I was speechless, OJ, trapped between my love for Richard and the fear of my spiritual husband. I prayed continuously, pleading with God for strength. I loved Richard too much to let a spirit control my life. I had made up my mind I was going to marry Richard no matter what. But the fear of my spiritual husband lingered. He was always there in the shadows. My life felt increasingly strange, especially at night. My spiritual husband visited me in my dreams, whispering threats and warnings, making me feel unworthy of love. He appeared almost every night with his cold presence beside me. No matter how much I prayed or tried to cast him away, his threats only grew worse. A few days later, Richard came over while I was preparing dinner. He looked very happy and hopeful. The feeling I had for him was overwhelming, and I knew I couldn't let my spiritual husband or the threats stop me, as we had already planned and started discussing our marriage. Unknown to me, OJ, that was the last day I was going to see Richard. That day with Richard was wonderful. We spent hours together, and for once, I wasn't afraid of any spiritual husband, since he had also not appeared to me for the past 2 days. And I believed my prayers were finally working. As I walked Richard to the bus stop, he kissed me goodbye. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. But OJ, that peace was short-lived. An hour after he left, my phone rang. What I heard on the other side of the phone made me let out a loud scream. My world shattered in an instant. The bus Richard picked was involved in a gory accident. Many survived with minor wounds, but Richard didn't make it. Till now, OJ, I am 30 years and not married. Not even a boyfriend to call my own. He still appears in my dreams with threats, so I fear endangering the life of an innocent young man. Please support me with prayers as I continue to walk through the shadow of darkness. A man shares a strange confession on how he married a snake for a wife without knowing. Click on this video for the full story.